What is up, guys? Sam Dog, the infamous 253, coming at you guys with Dallas Stewart on the speakerphone. Dallas, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Week 7 in the books. We went 10-5 on week 7, a perfect afternoon slate. Got a few games wrong. Glad we got our game wrong against the Falcons because that was a hell of a win by the Seahawks last week against the Falcons. But now, time to bring on week 8 of the 2024 NFL season and the week 8 picks. First off, we got Thursday Night Football. We got the Minnesota Vikings going to LA to take on the Rams. The Vikings coming off of their first loss of the season to the Detroit Lions, and the Los Angeles Rams coming off of a win over the Las Vegas Raiders at home, where the defense just finished it out at home. A 20-15 win by the Rams. And the Rams appeared in the news earlier. Heard some news that they're actively trying to shop Cooper Kupp, maybe to get off of that contract. I don't know if they'll make the trade and whatnot, too. I was just watching, shout out to Seahawks Brendan Nelson. I was just watching his video talking about that on a video. Interesting news going around. We'll see if it actually happens, but I highly doubt the Rams trade Cooper Kupp, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them. I know they're dealing with some injuries, and that was a pretty damn ugly win against the Raiders.
Yeah, at home in SoFi Stadium. But Minnesota, like I mentioned before, coming off of a tough first loss at home to the Detroit Lions, with the Lions now leading the division right now since they have the tiebreaker over the Vikings. And now Minnesota coming into this game, Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson, wide receiver group, they still look good. And I think they're gonna be in the playoffs, maybe as a wild card if Detroit wins the division. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the Minnesota Vikings to bounce back and knock the Rams to 2-5.
Yeah,
2-5. I'm taking the Vikings.
yeah. Give me the Vikings as well to bounce back after that really tough loss against Detroit last week, and I just, I just think they're. I think they'll win pretty handedly.
Agreed. All right, now to start off the Sunday slate. First off, we got the Green Bay Packers going down to Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Packers got a last-second win, Brandon McManus walk-off field goal against the Houston Texans, and the Jacksonville Jaguars pistol whipped the New England Patriots in London. I cannot believe the Jaguars are not on a bye week after doing 2 straight weeks in London. But they're pretty much used to it that they go over there. But why not just have their bye week after this? I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't have a bye week after this.
Yeah, but regardless, the Jaguars playing an absolute rebuilding Patriots team. I'm not picking the Patriots again for the rest of the season, and I'm definitely not picking Jacksonville here. Give me the Green Bay Packers lock of the week.
Yeah, give me the Packers in a lock.
Yep, I just don't see Jacksonville hanging with them. Green Bay got a good defense, and Jordan Love's been balling out, especially the way that he led that comeback drive to set up McManus when they were wearing all white at Lambeau Field and got that walk-off win. I just see the Green Bay Packers. I'll tell you what, the NFC North right now is the best division in football right now.
Yeah,
It's looking that way right now. The NFC North is the best division in football right now. Gotta say it for as it looks right now. But all right, up next, we got the Arizona Cardinals going down to Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins. The Cardinals got a last second win over the Los Angeles Chargers. Didn't give up a touchdown. Kyler Murray had a big touchdown run earlier in the game, a 41-yard touchdown run. They looked pretty good, but the Chargers, I'll tell you what, they had chances to win that game, but they just shot themselves in the foot with penalties, especially the first interception where that defensive line got it, and then James Conner stripped it, and the Cardinals were able to recover it. The Chargers they just shot themselves in the foot too many times. But it came at the cost as the Cardinals lost their best pass rusher, Gardeck, for the year, from what I heard on Seahawks Brendan Nelson's video. Meanwhile, the Dolphins losing to the Indianapolis Colts, but I think this is the week they get Tua back.
yeah.
And if they get Tua back, look out. If this is the week they get Tua back, I can see things going right for Miami. I think Miami ends their losing streak. Give me the Miami Dolphins. If Tua's back, which is looking like he's going to be back. Give me the Miami Dolphins and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and that offense to get back where they left off from when Tua was healthy. I'm taking the Dolphins.
Yeah, if Tua is back, give me Miami, although he might be a little rusty. Yeah, this is a toss-up game. Really weird. This game could go either way. But I like Miami just a little bit better than Arizona.
Yeah, and this is supposed, and I heard that Tua was going to get cleared this week to play. So if Tua's playing, look out. The chemistry is going to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we've got the New York Jets going to Foxborough to take on the Patriots. The Jets got absolutely pistol whipped by Russell Wilson in Russell Wilson's Pittsburgh Steelers debut. And I got to be honest, as a Seahawks fan, I was happy to see Russell have a good performance with Pittsburgh, to be honest with you. Russell Wilson played a really great game. 31 unanswered points. He was rusty in the beginning, but then the 31 unanswered points on offense. He hit George Pickens for a nice touchdown, had a quarterback sneak after that interception, got returned to the 1 yard line, and then freaking hit free. And then Najee Harris had a nice little touchdown run. He hit Van Jefferson for a touchdown pass. And the Jets defense got absolutely carved. And Aaron Rodgers threw like 2 or 3 interceptions.
I think it was 2.
Yeah, 2 interceptions. Meanwhile, the Patriots got manhandled in London by the Jacksonville Jaguars. But taking on the Jets this time doesn't get any easier. Give me the Jets to manhandle the Patriots in Foxborough. I'm taking the Jets.
Yeah, give me the Jets to get the sweep of New England. This might be one of the last times I picked the Jets this year.
Yeah. Because whether they got the rest of the way on the schedule, pretty tough.
Yeah, depending on who they have the rest of the way.
Yep. All right, up next, we've got the Baltimore Ravens going to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens just absolutely took care of business last night on Monday Night Football in Tampa Bay, just destroying the Buccaneers. Granted, Buccaneers did lose Mike Evans and Chris Godwin for the game, some costly injuries. Meanwhile, Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson out for the year, torn Achilles. Then the other backup quarterback, DTR, gets injured. So now it's going to be Jameis Winston starting at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And all I got to say as a Seahawks fan, thank God we did not trade for Deshaun Watson. Thank God we didn't trade for him. That was not worth it. And you knew the risk that came with it. And Watson's injury prone. I'm glad we did not make that trade. I remember when Seahawks fans were like, oh, yeah, we need to trade for Deshaun Watson. We need to trade for Deshaun Watson after we trade Russell Wilson. I'm like, nah, we're going to go for a rebuild. I told him so. I told him. Thank God Cleveland was dumb enough to do it. And look how good Baker Mayfield been playing with Tampa Bay ever since then. It's like they should have kept Baker Mayfield. They were so dumb to give up on Baker too early. Give me the Baltimore Ravens. Guaranteed lock over the Cleveland Browns. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, they're going to run wild over Cleveland. Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, give me the Ravens all over Cleveland. And I actually heard that Cleveland signed, I think it was Bailey Zappi. I forgot whose practice squad he was on.
Doesn't even matter. It's the Browns.
Yeah.
It's the Browns.
Yeah, he actually might be starting. Wow. Yeah, but Ravens all over Cleveland.
And I'm putting that as another lock.
Cleveland.
I'm putting that as a lock as another lock. So we got 2 locks on this week.
Yeah.
All right, up next, you got the Philadelphia Eagles going to Cincinnati to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Saquon Barkley definitely got his revenge. He ran all over the Giants last week in MetLife Stadium in his return game. Saquon just freaking did work. You knew they wanted to give him the ball. He had a touchdown in that game, and Philadelphia Eagles were just all over the Giants. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Bengals got it done against the Cleveland Browns. But let's be real, they were playing the Browns, so Cleveland kind of made it a little interesting at the end, but they weren't going to beat the freaking Browns. Let's be real on that one. I mean, they weren't going to. They weren't going to lose to the Browns. That's what I'm going to say. They weren't going to lose to the Browns. So my bet on that one. But different story. Taking on Philly. Philly red hot. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley running hard. Jalen Hurts playing some good football right now. Give me the Eagles to go into Cincinnati and keep it rolling.
Yeah, give me the Eagles to keep it rolling. I think that win, and finally, looking dominant, I think it finally got them going. And Cincinnati's had 2 pretty easy games in a row, and this is going to be a tough game for them.
Big time.
Yeah.
All right, up next, we got the Indianapolis Colts going to Houston to take on the Texans, a little rematch of Week 1. The Colts got a nice little win over the Miami Dolphins. The Texans, tough battle with the Green Bay Packers, ultimately fell short, giving up that Brandon McManus walk-off field goal at the end with the Packers wearing all white in Lambeau Field as they blew it to the Packers. We all know what happened in Week 1, that crazy shootout that C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson had this week. Anthony Richardson back in the fold for Indianapolis, by the way. He looked a little rusty in his comeback game with the Miami Dolphins, but we'll see what happens this time around. But as it stands, Texans still own the AFC South. I'm gonna take them to continue it. Give me the Texans to complete the sweep of the Colts.
Yeah, give me the Texans to complete the sweep of the Colts. That was a really heartbreaking loss for them last week, and I think they bounced back. They're going to be ticked off, and I just slightly favor them over the Colts.
Oh
I
yeah,
do think it'll be. I do think it'll be a good game, though.
yeah, I think so
It was
too.
a good game. It was a good game, and I mean, Indianapolis took them right down to the wire in week one.
Yeah, it was a hell of a game. Yep. All right. Up next, we got we got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Detroit Lions. The Tennessee Titans last week got absolutely pistol whipped by the Buffalo Bills as expected. Detroit Lions last week they freaking handed Minnesota their first loss of the season. Granted, that was a crazy battle back and forth, that fumble, scoop, and score. But Jared Goff didn't flinch. He didn't flinch. He did his thing, drove him down, set up Jake Bates for that field goal, and then the defense got the stop at the end with that big sack on Sam Darnold as the time expired to pretty much seal the deal. And the Lions now lead the NFC North. Like we mentioned before, NFC North, best division in football right now in this season. Give me the Detroit Lions. I'm guaranteeing that as a lock. We know the Titans are crap. Give me the Lions. I'm going to lock that up as well. 3 locks this week.
Yeah, give me the Lions in a lock. Yeah, the Titans played a pretty good first half, but that was it. It was all Bills in the second half. This one's pretty easy.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we got the Atlanta Falcons going to Tampa Bay to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Atlanta Falcons, well, you know what happened last week. You know what happened last week. We came into Atlanta. We took care of our thing. A little rusty first half, but Kenneth Walker freaking ran all over him. Had a touchdown on the ground and in the air on his birthday. DK Metcalf, the big touchdown in the at the end of the first half, which was huge because Atlanta went down to answer that back with a Drake London touchdown. After that, after the Drake London touchdown, Falcons didn't do shit.
Yeah, they just couldn't do anything pretty much the last quarter and a half.
And when Derek Hall got the scoop and score off of Boye Mafe stripping forcing the fumble on Kirk Cousins, I said that's game. I said that was game right there. That's pretty much sealed it. Granted, we added a Jason Myers field goal to make it a 20-point game, but we took care of our business over the Atlanta Falcons 34-14 in ATL. Koo missed a costly field goal earlier that could have tied the game at 3, which we cashed in for the first Walker touchdown. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they lost Chris Godwin and Mike Evans last night against the Baltimore Ravens when the Ravens just handily whooped their ass. And
Yeah.
Falcons, I kind of still got them as the top dog to win the NFC South. And if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are out next week, Tampa's in some real trouble this week. Baker Mayfield's in some trouble, that's for sure. Granted, Baker's having a heck of a year, but he's gonna have a lot of problems. And you know what? I'm gonna take the Atlanta Falcons to complete the sweep of the Buccaneers.
Yeah, give me Atlanta to complete the sweep of the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are just too banged up, I think. And I think Atlanta bounces back from that loss against us last week.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we got the Drew Brees Bowl. We got the Drew Brees Bowl in SoFi Stadium. We got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Well, granted, Drew Brees played in San Diego, not Los Angeles, but you know what I'm saying. It's Drew Brees' two teams. The Saints, freaking last week, where they've got manhandled. Sean Payton's homecoming to New Orleans, and they got manhandled by Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Broncos just did their thing. And Cody Barton, even former Seahawk Cody Barton, had a scoop and score in that game too, from what I heard. Meanwhile, the Chargers lost all field goals, but lost in the final seconds in Arizona against the Arizona Cardinals. They're really missing Joey Bosa. They got Khalil Mack in there too for the defense, but Cardinals, the Chargers shot themselves in the foot so many times in that game. They had their opportunities, they just couldn't capitalize. But this week, I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take the Chargers at home to hand the Saints another loss. The Saints are still on a downward spiral ever since those first 2 weeks. Give me the Chargers.
Yeah, give me the Chargers to hand the Saints their sixth consecutive loss. Wow.
Yeah.
Hard to believe after the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, especially when they scored 91 points in those first 2 weeks too, looking like the best offense. And now where did it go?
Yeah.
All right. Up next, we got our game. We got the Buffalo Bills coming to Seattle, take on the Seahawks. And from what I've seen in the rumors, we're game of the week on Fox. And so that means we might be getting Tom Brady in the house. I think we're getting Tom Brady in for our game. So I'm going to have to keep an eye out during player interactions, especially if I can. I might cut the stream a little early if I can manage to somehow score a selfie with Brady. But if
If
I
he
can
comes
get,
down to the if
if
he
he
comes
comes
down
down
to
to
the
the field, I
field.
don't know if Tom Brady's going to come down to the field. It'll be
Yeah.
interesting if he does with Kevin Burkhardt, but I'm going to keep my eyes open for Tom Brady when I'm hanging out there by the tunnel. That's for sure. That'd be pretty fun. But as we mentioned before, we got that big win over the Atlanta Falcons, a nice bounce back win, and the Bills just took care of their business against the Tennessee Titans. Amari Cooper making his Buffalo Bill debut, catching a touchdown in that game from Josh Allen. Buffalo Bills, they're gonna they're going to win the AFC East. That's for sure. They're still a good team. Josh Allen's playing some good football. They got good tight ends, good running game. And then obviously the question mark is DK Metcalf. Is he going to play this week? Will he rest this week? He's week to week with that grade 1 MCL sprain that we got worried about. So hoping DK is all right. But we still got other weapons with Lockett and JSN and Bobo, which Bobo almost had a costly drop in that Atlanta game, which thankfully the defense bailed him for with that scoop and score last week. But if we want to beat the Buffalo Bills, here's some factors we're gonna do. One, we're gonna have to force turnovers. Two, we're gonna have to get pressure on Josh Allen and get some sacks and keep him from and not let him get any open room to run. Because when Josh Allen can run, he's dangerous and he'll run through contact too. And
Yeah.
then we got to cover up his receivers too. Keon Coleman and now Amari Cooper in the fold, and obviously Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. They got good tight ends. We'll see. You know, it's a tough one, and I hate to do it again, but knock on wood, I gotta slightly give the advantage to Buffalo coming in our house. Though I feel like we lose this game, but if we win, it'll be a miracle if we can get a win. But if we just take care of those factors and we're starting to play, if we play some good ball, granted having Byron Murphy back was huge, and Boye Maffe's balling out, and then Derek Hall's balling out too. If we can just have a solid game on defense against that Bills offense, then we can win this game. But I gotta give the slight edge to the Bills, but knock on wood and hope that we can make it a 2-game win streak before we go into the LA game. But I gotta slightly favor the Bills.
Yeah, I gotta slightly favor the Bills. They have a lot of weapons on offense, and I think we're gonna have a slight letdown, and we don't know the status of Metcalf. I think he'll probably miss this game. And yeah, but I mean, I feel a little bit better about this game after last week than I did, a couple weeks ago, but I just got to slightly favor the Bills.
But like I said, if we can get pressure on Josh Allen, we can force some turnovers. But if we can score points on offense, if we can just score points on offense, which was what we did last week, granted, we got some help from the defense, which was the reason we had 34 points. We just got to score points. Kenneth Walker needs to have a big game again, like last week. We need Tyler Lockett and JSN to have a big game. Gino needs to have another good game. Not saying it has to be perfect because he definitely wasn't perfect last week in Atlanta, but we got to force turnovers. Just saying, if we want to have a chance, we got to force those turnovers, and offense needs to play a good game.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, we got the Chicago Bears going to Washington to take on the Commanders. The Chicago Bears coming off of their bye week after manhandling the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. Meanwhile, the Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels got hurt, but they didn't miss a beat with Marcus Mariota as they absolutely annihilated the weak as hell Carolina Panthers. That absolute dumpster fire Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
So it's Panther Pizza and his buddy Caden. Yeah, the Panthers are ass. They will continue to be ass this season as they tank. But the Washington Commanders, what is the status of Jaden Daniels? Because I know he got injured in that game. Granted, they still dropped 40 points. Is he going to be back this week?
Not sure.
Not sure, but the Commanders are playing some darn good football right now. And like I mentioned, Mariota, even when he came in, he didn't miss a beat. Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears. The Bears are playing some good football too. This will be a good game.
Yeah, this is one of the marquee games of the week, I would say.
This one's also kind of a toss-up too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead though, and I'm gonna slightly favor the Commanders at home, though. It's a tough one, but I'm gonna slightly favor Washington.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably go with Washington, but it all depends on Jaden Daniels' status. If he doesn't play, I would probably go with the Bears, but for now, I'm gonna stick with Washington.
But you got to give credit to Marcus Mariota. He balled out last week when he came in.
Yeah,
So that's another factor. Mariota plays like that again, they could win if he has to play.
yeah,
All right, up next, we got the Kansas City Chiefs going to Allegiant Stadium to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Kansas City Chiefs manhandled the San Francisco 49ers again. Patrick Mahomes is now 5-0 against the 49ers. Two of those wins were both in the Super Bowl. Were both Super Bowl. Two of Mahomes' 5 wins over the Niners were Super Bowls.
yeah.
And the Las Vegas Raiders, tough battle. I wanted to see Minshew lead a comeback against the LA Rams, but he threw an interception at the end, which I kind of had a feeling that he was going to shit the bed on the opportunity that he got, and ended up being that too. So Kansas City Chiefs, red hot. Granted, Mahomes doesn't have a lot of passing touchdowns. Most of their touchdowns have been on the ground, but the defense for the Chiefs has really been doing it. Steve Spagnuolo's defense has been balling out for Kansas City, and that's why they're undefeated still. And I expect them to stay undefeated. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs to just steamroll the Raiders, and I'm guaranteeing it too. So that's another lock.
Yeah, Chiefs in a lock. They continue their dominance over the Raiders. Besides laying that egg on Christmas last year against them,
Yeah.
still can't believe they lost that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's pretty easy.
I don't think they're dwelling on it since they did end up winning the Super Bowl at the end of that, by the way. So
Yeah,
don't think they're dwelling on that one anymore because that one lit a fire. That loss for them lit a fire, and
yeah,
they've been rolling ever since. All right, up next we got a Super Bowl 50 rematch. We got the trash as fuck Carolina Panthers going to Denver to take on the Denver Broncos. Carolina Panthers, though Jaden Daniels got knocked out, they got absolutely pistol whipped and manhandled by Marcus Mariota. Still, Mariota just manhandled them, and so did that entire offense with Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz, and that entire Washington Commanders offense. They still just, even with Mariota, without Jane Daniels, they just absolutely annihilated the Panthers. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos, Sean Payton's homecoming to New Orleans, they manhandled the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. Sean Payton's return. Bo Nix playing some darn good football, and that Broncos defense playing some darn good football as well. And I got to take the Broncos to continue it. Give me Denver at home over Carolina again as the Broncos continue to own the Panthers since Super Bowl 50. I'm taking the Denver Broncos.
yeah. Give me the Broncos as well. To get to 5-3. Carolina is just an absolute dumpster fire.
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it.
Yeah.
I don't know how them and New England aren't winless.
Yeah.
They're the two worst teams in the league, in my opinion.
By far and away. By far and away, my friend. Ooh. All right. Up next, Sunday Night Football. We got the San Francisco 49ers going to Dallas, take on the Cowboys. As I mentioned before, 49ers got absolutely manned. They were in it for a little bit with the turnovers. I mean, they stopped the fake punt, but Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions in that
And
game.
the last one sealed it.
Yeah, the one in the red zone. Purdy threw
Yeah.
3 interceptions in that game. Brandon Ayuk out for the year. George Kittle injured. Debo Samuel, pneumonia in the lungs. They're going to be out a lot of guys. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys pretty much coming off of the bye week after getting manhandled by the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Like absolutely manhandled at home by the Detroit Lions. Ricky Pearsall is going to have to do some big things for the 49ers in this game too on offense, especially with the guys that they're missing. Kittle even got hurt too. Are they going to have George Kittle this game? Because I heard Kittle got hurt too.
Yeah, I don't know. They're pretty damn banged up.
Yeah,
But
but
both teams are desperate for a win.
yeah, but I'm gonna slightly lean because the 49ers have had the Cowboys number in recent history. I think the 49ers are going to still run all over the Cowboys. So I'm going to take the 49ers in this game still.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the 49ers to get back to 500. I mean, both teams need this game. I think the 49ers need it slightly more.
Yeah. If Dallas does us a favor though too, I'll be happy, but I could still see San
Yeah.
Francisco owning them.
Dallas just I have not been impressed with Dallas all year.
No one has. I'm
Even in their win, they have not even really looked good in their wins.
Yeah, even against Pittsburgh when they almost lost to Justin Fields. Which, speaking of which, Monday Night Football, we got the New York Giants going to Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Giants got ran all over by Saquon Barkley in Saquon's revenge, and Philly just pistol whipped them. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Steelers, as I mentioned before, Russell Wilson, his debut as a Steeler, he even put himself in the record books on his first game as a Steeler. What I think he broke a record that's been held since the 1970s, since Earl Morrall, like most passing yards or something like that. And Davey, nothing Terry Bradshaw did, but Russell Wilson put himself in the record books. He had a hell of a night. Started out slow, but when he got settled in, he fucking destroyed Aaron Rodgers. And that Pittsburgh defense really got after Aaron Rodgers. TJ Watt got after him. They were bouncing balls. They picked him off twice. And Russell Wilson pretty much had 3 touchdowns, including a quarterback sneak. And then Najee Harris with the touchdown that pretty much wrapped it up, which he could have kneeled it because of the first down, because the Jets pretty much had no timeouts, but he wanted to get one in the end zone anyway to just rub it in. 31 unanswered points by the Pittsburgh Steelers as they just absolutely manhandled and destroyed the New York Jets at home on Sunday Night Football. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to keep it rolling again. Russell Wilson, I think Russell Wilson's going to have another big game for the Steelers, and the Steelers defense is going to get after Daniel Jones, and they're just going to just shut him down. I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, give me the Steelers to complete the New York sweep.
The New York City sweep, yep.
Yeah, the New York City sweep.
Yeah. Pittsburgh, I gotta say, I was impressed with Russell Wilson in his Steeler debut. Even as a Seahawks fan, I'm grateful for what he did for us. But I'll tell you what, seeing him have that game, I'll tell you what, I was happy for him. He deserved that. That was a great game. It seems like he's been more humble ever since he got that start. I mean, ever since now going to Pittsburgh, like he's more humble now on that. He looked humble, but I was happy to see him just absolutely destroy Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And that's his first win over Aaron Rodgers since he hit Ed Dixon for the game-winning touchdown in 2018 when we beat the Packers in Lumen Field in 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, first win over Aaron Rodgers since 2018 for Russell Wilson. All right, and there you have it. Those are our picks. We got Vikings over Rams, Packers on a lock over the Jags, Dolphins over the Cardinals, Jets over the Patriots, Ravens in a lock over the Browns, Eagles over the Bengals, Texans over the Colts, Lions in a lock over the Titans, Falcons over the Buccaneers, Chargers over the Saints. Knock on wood, hopefully, see if we can hopefully pull it up, but got to slightly favor the Bills in our matchup at home, which I am going to this game. So hope for the best, knock on wood, and hope for the best that the Seahawks can pull it off. Commanders over the Bears, Chiefs in a lock over the Raiders, Broncos pistol whipping Carolina again, since they've been owning them since Super Bowl 50, 49ers over the Cowboys, and Steelers over the New York Giants. And these are our Week 8 picks. Let's see how we do. Catch you for the post-game recap when I get back from the game with Dallas Stewart. Depending if I decide to go live in the stadium if we pull it off somehow. But anyway, catch y'all later. If you ain't with it, you ain't infamous. And as always, go Seahawks.